This is the stage, it is the place where dreams come true. Yes, it's the stage, seven sisters smile and unite all through. ERDF, USTM, and trees are the trees that grows to love and admire all communities. We welcome you, Sir Sridhar Bhattacharya. We welcome you, Sir Abdul Mannan. Ni bidiyang Yafishaka USTM. Ni bidiyang Snehmaya Kilog Bahe. La 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 la
Our guest from Bangladesh. We would request Honorable Chancellor Sir to kindly felicitate Abdul Mannan Sir. We would request. I would now like to invite Dr. Shah Mohammad Tanveer Mansoor Sir, Honorable Assistant High Commissioner of Bangladesh to India, to kindly present the welcome address.
Honorable Chairman of Bangladesh University Grants Commission, Professor Abdul Mannan Sir. Honorable Chancellor of USTM, Mr. Mahbul Haq Sir, and Vice Chancellor Dr. Aloka Sharma, Dr. P.K. Goswami, and Vice Chancellor Dr. Aloka Sharma. So, if India wants to go ahead, it has to cooperate with Bangladesh. If Bangladesh wants to go ahead, it has to cooperate with India. And that's why India has extended for the last 10 years almost $7 billion line of credit to Bangladesh. And Bangladesh presently is the 32nd largest economy of the world, and within 2050, we are speculating that it will become 23rd largest economy of the world. Rampal coal power, it is with the cooperation of Indian National Thermal Power. Exchange of values between the two countries reduces mental gap and cultural gap, which is very much required for Bangladesh and Assamese people, because we don't know much between us, among us. Even this information was not according to you, that the national anthem of India and Bangladesh is composed by, both are composed by Rabindranath Tagore. And wrong ideas and about other regions can be corrected. Actually, I believe that Bangladesh people do not know much about Assam, and Assamese people do not know much about Bangladesh. Knowledge transfer, actually, research is a very costly, expensive thing. So, if you can share your research outcome, it will be very much easy for other researchers in other regions to proceed ahead it. Thankful to him. And it's the perfect idea that conferring a degree to such a person in Northeast is a perfect thing, I should say. Because he is not an educationist. He is a social worker who worked against religious fundamentalism, who worked against communalism, who worked against terrorism. And also he is one of the important educators of Bangladesh, and he became the Vice Chancellor, he was the youngest Vice Chancellor in Bangladesh when he became the Vice Chancellor of Chittagong University. It's a public university. And also I like to say about the Chancellor of USTM, I have heard, and I was surprised that he started only with 4 students with 1 computer, and now he has 8,000 students with 6 or 7 educational institutes. So it's a great example, and it is of India, and he's a great son of India, I believe. And about the Honorable Education Minister, I'll just say one thing. When I met him just 7 days before, it's like a love at the first sight. Actually, he knows so much about Bangladesh. I was thundered that he knows many things, even better than me, about the economy of Bangladesh. Thank you, sir, for taking interest in Bangladesh. And thanks to all the Vice Chancellors, sir, because all of you are our sirs, the most respectable job of the society. And we need your blessings. The last word I want to say that we need your blessings to take ahead the Bangladesh-India relationship. Thank you so much, and I request to speak something on today's topic, please, sir.
Honorable Education Minister, Honorable Chairman of UGC Bangladesh, Abdul Mannan sir, our own Chancellor, dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are having an interesting session on bilateral collaborations in higher education between India and Bangladesh. As we all are aware, both the governments of India and Bangladesh are very keen on having better relations. But saying that is not enough. Look is policy, act is policy, it's fine. And actually, we have link which is, we are related by heritage, by culture, by common environment, by many things. The question is that what role do institutions play in carrying forward these linkages and in enforcing the act is policy in practice. So people-to-people collaboration is required, institution-to-institution collaboration is required. We have many things to learn from people in Bangladesh, and I have visited the country 2 times, and especially the disaster management preparation in Bangladesh is excellent. We have many things to pick up from that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I welcome Dr. Mannan to Assam and also congratulate him for being conferred a D.Lit degree by USTM, which is a leading university in the private sector in the Northeast. Now, coming to the subject that is being discussed today, collaborative opportunities in the field of higher education between Bangladesh and India. Let me remind you all that this collaboration existed prior to partition. I remember a few of my relatives, they had studied in Murari Chand College in Sylhet, and I remember one of my uncle from my in-laws side, he was a student of engineering, and he subsequently became the chief engineer of PWD in Assam. That degree was taken in some engineering college in Dhaka, I presume. And I also remember that prior to partition, Dhaka University's medical college, in fact, that was not a college then, that was a school, like like Whiteberry School in Dibrugarh. They used to train up people in the modern medical field. In the bitterness of partition, maybe this link got cut off. And subsequently, Bangladesh has evolved. I'll not go into the details or into the political aspect of that. But with evolution of Bangladesh, Bangladesh also had somehow or the other gone into a period of rise of fundamentalism in that country. But with Sheikh Hasina, we are very hopeful, and we find that Bangladesh has not only stabilized politically, but socially also, Bangladesh has really progressed in economically or even in the field of education. I'll give you one of my own personal experience. Recently, my daughter got admitted in Oxford University, and for their induction program, the gown that we were wearing, that's the same kind of gown and the same kind of hat that had to be worn by the students. So before me leaving for my country, we went to a shop in Oxford and we purchased a gown for her. And will you believe me, when we came back to the hotel and we found that it was made in Bangladesh. Similarly, I was very fond of English movies when I was a student, and also novels. And everywhere I used to read that people go to Harrods. That is the ultimate of shopping experience. So when I went to London this time, I thought that I will go to this particular shop, this particular establishment, and definitely buy a woolen garment, because I presume that Scotland is nearby, and definitely I will buy one. Again I purchased, and again I found that it was made in Bangladesh. Why am I citing these two examples? To show that the image we had maybe 2 decades back, that's not the image that Bangladesh possesses today. And Dr. Mansoor has very correctly said that we have to have the correct perspective while we assess each other. Definitely there had been migration. I'm not denying. Prior to partition, it was a systematic migration by the Britishers for their colonial advantage. Subsequently, after partition of India into Pakistan and India, when it became East Pakistan, definitely at that time some people felt threatened, some people felt persecuted, and they had migrated. These things are facts which, come what may, we cannot whitewash. But can we live in that bitterness all along? The world has changed. The world has changed. Yesterday's enemies are country's best friend today. You remember the Cold War. During Cold War, it was polarized between 2 countries. And if you look into Europe now, you will find that countries like East Germany, they had merged again unified into a common Germany. You look into Czechoslovakia, you look into so many other countries, you find that not only politically they have changed, they have also changed culturally, they have changed socially. And we cannot remain isolated from the changes that's happening all over the world. And that's exactly, I really feel that education is one sector which really binds people together. And if we had that bonding prior to partition, why can't we start it right now? Assam, at one moment of time, it used to feel isolated because it is at one corner of the whole Indian nation. But with the change of perception, with the change of economic opportunities that is emerging in Southeast Asia, now Assam has become the center point where Southeast Asian countries can come and trade and interact with India. And right now I saw that one port is being allowed to be used by 2 ports, Mongla and Chittagong. Chittagong, yes. I had been to Lungle. Lungle is in, as you know, it's in Mizoram, and it's a very far corner of Mizoram. It takes almost a whole day to go from Aizawl to Lungle, near about 12 hours journey, and it's a tremendous, very bitter journey. But surprisingly, if somebody wants to export certain things, from Lungle, it is hardly 6 to 7 hours journey, I presume. And it will, just imagine, if I want to export something, what I have to do today? I have to go all the way 1,000 kilometers and then get it exported. But if we start using Chittagong or like Mongla, it will be much easier for us to transport. Similarly, for states like Tripura, or for that matter, even Kachar, Barak Valley, the cost of transportation for goods and goods will be much cheaper if we transport it by riverine way. Today we are talking of education. I have just gone through the list of university vice-chancellors who are present on the dais today. And even though I haven't addressed them one by one, but the list is a long one. And I find that so many technical universities have come up. USTM, then Aztec, and so many other universities have come up. Now, Bangladesh can take advantage of this evolution of educational institutions in Assam. We can definitely help each other. And I hope that I'll not take much time, as it is, like we are running short of time. But to start up the discussion, I will like to put up this proposition that I fully agree with the Assistant High Commissioner of Bangladesh's proposition that let there be exchange of ideas. Let old perceptions be forgotten. Let us forge new friendship. And that friendship can be developed through youths, through students, through exchange programs where students from Assam or Northeast goes to Bangladesh, gets to know people there. Because I feel that is one way where our ideas of each other will change. In Bangladesh, there is a perception that if somebody comes from Bangladesh to Assam, they are not treated well. That's not so. Similarly, the perception that we have here, that also needs to be changed about Bangladesh. Bangladesh probably is not the basket case that maybe it was, say, 3 decades before. People's opportunities, these opportunities we have to take. And we have to take with a broad mind. We have to take things at a step with open hands. And with this, I propose that let there be collaborative opportunities in the field of not only higher education, in so many other fields also. In Northeast, medical facilities have grown up like anything. Whenever we go to Apollo Hospital in, say, Bangalore or any other such hospitals, we see so many people coming from Bangladesh, going there for medical treatments. Now, the same kind of facilities are available in Northeast, the same kind of facilities are available in Guwahati. In fact, the predecessor to Dr. Mansoor, Assistant High Commissioner, who had just opened the High Commissionerate here, one day we happened to be in the same meeting on the occasion of inauguration of Name Care Hospital. And he told me, sir, with the opening of this hospital, our people will be benefited. I said, how? They said, sir, if they have to go to Bangalore or, say, for that matter, Chennai or Delhi, the cost becomes tremendously high. But if they have to come over to Guwahati, they get the same kind of treatment. They will get the same kind of treatment. And cost will be at maybe 1/3 of what it will cost them. So, advanced medical facilities will be available to even lower middle class people. And as our Honorable Prime Minister says, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Everybody has a right for betterment in their life. Everybody has a right to uplift their lives. And I really appreciate the effort that has been taken up for these collaborative opportunities in the field of education. I am confining myself to education, and I can assure you that Government of Assam will not be coming up not going for this kind of collaborative programs. We are all for this kind of exchanges. We invite students, exchange youths on exchange programs, and I hope that our combined effort will change the picture of both the countries. Thank you so much.
Today we have with us the chairperson of the University Grant Commission, the recipients of today's Delete Award, Janab Abdul Mannan sir. So he will be in a better position to talk about this collaboration on higher education. So may I request sir to say a few words?
Good evening. I would like to first thank our Assistant High Commissioner, Dr. Shah Mohammad Tanveer Mansoor, for giving an excellent presentation. And also the Honorable Education Minister of Assam for his remarks. During his speech, he mentioned about Dibrugarh. Not many people mentions about Dibrugarh. It brings back some of my memories from early days. Not that I happen to have anything to do with Dibrugarh, neither was I born when whatever I'm talking about Dibrugarh happened. The headquarters of the Assam-Bengal Railway was in Chittagong, my district, the district I come from. And in 1944, when the Japanese army overran Myanmar or Burma, it was thought that the fall of Chittagong onward to India is imminent. So one institution or one government office decided to relocate. That was the headquarters of Assam-Bengal Railway to Dibrugarh. And the Assam-Bengal Railway headquarters is very close to my ancestral home in Chittagong. And a lot of my local people, my relatives, used to work for the Assam-Bengal Railway. So they packed up and left Chittagong for Dibrugarh and set up a temporary office of Assam-Bengal Railway in Assam, in Dibrugarh. So see, we are talking of connectivity, relationship today in 2018. The connectivity, the relationship between and amongst people of this subcontinent, especially of this part of India, goes back for centuries. We perhaps do not realize some of the silent revolution that has taken place in recent times. Tripura wanted to have a power plant installed in Paltola, a place in Tripura. They needed to transport oversized power plant equipments. It was absolutely impossible for the government of Tripura to transport those equipments, oversized equipments to Tripura. The government of Bangladesh came forward and allowed one of the largest river port, Ashuganj, where the oversized these power plant equipments were brought to Ashuganj. There was a river, not a very small river, but these huge barges could not enter that river. The river was dammed temporarily. The oversized equipments was put on transport, land transport, the big trailers carried over this river. And Dhaka-Chittagong highway is the busiest highway between Dhaka and Chittagong because of the port in Chittagong. The government stopped all the traffic so that the power plant equipments meant for Paltola in Tripura could move from Ashuganj to Tripura. And there were a lot of criticisms from the opposition. But our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina said, I'm not doing this for India or for any country. I am doing this for the people, for the neighboring people, the people who helped us in 1971. Many of you perhaps would not realize how the people of Tripura, the West Bengal, where maximum exodus happened in 1971, the local people helped us. The Maharani of Tripura even vacated her palace for the refugees. These are extraordinary gestures, goes unnoticed, silently. The opening up of Chittagong port and Mongla port for transshipment and transit of goods and commodities for Indian states of Northeast and East has happened in the recent times. Just the protocol has to be signed. Imagine the economic consequence of such a gesture. Once in a while, when there is a big rainfall, there is a landslide, the railway system is broken down in Tripura and in those places, Bangladesh always shipped hundreds of tons of food grains through Bangladesh. It could be either Indian food grain or Bangladesh food grain to the states of Tripura, because we cannot allow our neighbors to go starving while we are eating. So that is what relationship is all about. So we are talking about collaboration in higher education. Now let me very briefly give what University Grants Commission in Bangladesh is all about. It is more or less same. The mandate is same as it's in India, but in Indian University Grants Commission is a little bit more powerful than our University Grants Commission. We have only one University Grants Commission centrally, but in India, I believe you have one centrally, and there are other offices around the country. The University Grants Commission is the apex body that monitors all the universities, both public and private in the country. Currently, there are 49 public universities. When I say public university, these are publicly funded. And there are about 103 private universities. These are not publicly funded, but they are within the jurisdiction of the University Grants Commission's rules and regulations. They cannot do anything. All the public universities' development funds and recurring funds goes through our office. Our office is not a very big office. We have only 260 plus people tackling the needs, requirements of all these universities. And today, I said 3.8 million students study in the university level. So, regarding collaboration, on 11th of this month, I was in Punjab, in lovely University of Punjab. It's a huge campus. They have 35,000 students, 3,500 from 70 countries. It's a private university. And I was surprised to see that approximately 700 students are from Bangladesh. It's not 70, it's not 100, it is 700. Now, it is a picture, it is a scenario that was not known to us. We hear about students going to Aligarh, going to Delhi, going to Calcutta, going to Kalyani, going to other places. Now, when a university absolutely in the west bordering Pakistan border is about 25 kilometers from the university itself. So many students are from Bangladesh, have already gone there and studying there. I asked them, how did this happen? They said we aggressively market the university not only to Bangladesh, also to other countries. Every year in Bangladesh, there are education fairs by country, India, Australia, Malaysia, UK, and many other countries. The primary reason is to attract students from our country to those countries. Because the demand for higher education in our country has gone up, has risen, and the supply side is still not that very strong. So today, our students are studying outside Bangladesh, and the largest number of students going outside Bangladesh perhaps is Malaysia. Then it is India. Then it is India, because going to Malaysia or coming to India is much cheaper and is close to home than going to England or to Australia or to Canada. So these are the things that are happening, and universities in North India or East India can definitely take advantage of it. University Grants Commission can always facilitate this. Recently, just this year on 31st December, we are closing a very big project in the higher education called Higher Education Quality Enhancement Project. This was funded by the government of Bangladesh and the World Bank. Total cost of the project was $2.4 million US. And University Grants Commission was the implementing agency. And some of the remarkable things that has happened in our universities under this project, the science faculties or departments that teach science have managed to build state-of-the-art laboratories. And I'm very glad to disclose this to you, inform you this, that there are many researchers today from India going to these universities to use those labs. There are many researchers coming from US, from Australia, from Malaysia, even from Singapore, using those labs. So that is what collaboration is all about. We have set up a first maritime university in Bangladesh. We don't have teachers, because that's absolutely a new discipline. So the Vice Chancellor of the East University, who was a former Rear Admiral in the Navy, he came to me and said, where can I get teachers now? I said, look around, see where can you get teachers. So he got teachers from China. Incidentally, that teacher was from India, working in China, Dalian University. He said, I will come to Bangladesh. I will I will set up the university curriculum and do everything practically at no cost. No cost means you don't have to pay me any extra cost. You pay me the salary that you pay to your professors. You just provide me with a simple accommodation. So he was in Dhaka. He stayed there for about a year and a half. He has gone back. He said he will again come back and bring few of his colleagues. That is what collaboration is all about. We have very recently set up the first digital university in the country, because Bangladesh is one of the key component of the education is, or the entire country's social fabric is digital Bangladesh. So we have set up the first digital university, Bangabandhu Digital University. We still don't have a campus. We have a land. We just appointed a vice chancellor and few office staff. But we will need lots of hand-holding to that, to actually bring that university to a level where you can admit students. So definitely India, being one of the leading country where digitization took its roots in Southeast Asia, can be of big help to us, and we are looking for it. So there are so many things that two countries can do that it is unimaginable. There are so many big problems that existed for 60 years. Just to mention one, the land boundary agreement and exchange of enclaves. That had its roots in 1947 during the partition days. Srimati Indira Gandhi and our father of the nation, Sheikh Mujib, signed an agreement way back in 1974 to end this problem. And you know, any international accord that you sign has to be ratified in the parliament. Immediately we ratified. But for many different reasons, India could not ratify. But when Mr. Narendra Modi ji took over, he said, how come you cannot ratify a protocol that was signed some 40 years back, still now. So it was amazing that both houses in India, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, unanimously ratified the accord. The exchanges of enclaves were made. The land boundary agreements were signed. So see, if you have the good intention, any problem is solvable. There is no such thing as that you cannot solve a problem. We had water sharing problem because out of all the rivers, 56 rivers in Bangladesh flows through India. Okay? Now, we have solved the Podda river problem. We're expecting that the Tista river problem would also be solved. Because one problem, one country's problem, no longer remains one country's problem. It just overflows into another country. And you have seen, I was speaking in an international conference in London last year on regional terrorism and security issues. I said, look, this was before our Rohingya problem started with Myanmar. I said, we have a problem there. If that problem goes out of hand, it will not be a problem of refugees. The refugee problem is very temporary, but the major problem would be the problem of the security. So we'll have to be very, very careful. When I say it's a security, it's not a security of Bangladesh, it's not a security of India, but it's the security of all the countries in the region. So today we are, giving space to 1.2 million refugees from Burma. But we are concerned about the security issues. We are concerned about other issues. So these problems needs to be solved. Regarding, again, coming back to higher education, I would request not only to the Chancellor of this USTM, but also all the Vice Chancellors, my colleagues here, you just need to do a little bit of aggressive marketing, promotion. Many people in our country are not aware what is happening in this part of India. They are much aware of what is happening in the western part. If you go to Calcutta, at any given time, you will find at least 30,000 Bangladeshis roaming around, doing shopping. All the hotels, 90% of the hotels are occupied by people from Bangladesh. During our last Eid, 150,000 Bangladeshis went to India for spending vacation or doing shopping. And when I came here, let us say I'm sitting here and you are sitting there, we are sitting here. I'm sure if I was not introduced, I could have passed, as someone from Assam or someone from Meghalaya. Did not matter. So that is what the advantage is all about. We share so many things in common. The feature, I said, I cannot speak Ohmia, but I can understand each and every word you say. Because while we were traveling, our friend Mr. Barabuya, he was speaking over telephone, Ohmia with somebody or with the driver. But I cannot understand, but I cannot speak, but I could understand every word he was saying. Because the language is practically very similar in pronunciation, the words we use. It's just different, the intonation, the accent that is different. So I see no difference between us, between Bangladesh and India, between Bangladesh or any parts of India, not only Northeast India or Eastern India or West Bengal. I think whenever I travel quite frequently to India, I have to because of my professional reasons. I don't find any distinction between the people of India and people of Bangladesh. We share so many things in common. We also share so many problems in common. And if you check the history of last 3 decades, we have solved many of these problems jointly. And one of the problem is poverty. One of the problem is illiteracy. Today, illiteracy is in Bangladesh, 72% of 160 million people are considered literate. We could not feed 75 million people in 1972. Today, not only we feed 160 million people, we are one of the food surplus country in the world. We are the fourth largest rice growing country in the world. So a country, I say, that can feed its own people, perhaps is the happiest people on earth. Just to end, I said, in 1971, I was fighting for my country. I've seen how Indian soldiers, I'm not saying I've said about the sacrifices made by the common people, but the soldiers that have shed their blood with us. You know, when you say blood, it's red. Blood does not have a name written. It's Indian blood or it's a Bangladeshi blood. It's a blood, it's red, it flows, and you give your blood for your country or you give your blood for your friend. So in 1971, Indian soldiers gave blood for their friends. And today, we are ready to sacrifice many of our petty interest for the greater interest of the people of this country. To me, the relationship between government to government is important, definitely yes. But the relationship between people, amongst people, is much more important than government to government, because government will change. Today you have one government, tomorrow we will have another government. But people will not change. The relationship of people must hold together. And that is how this region will one day show the path to the rest of the world. With these few words, again, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for his opening remarks, the Chancellor of USTM, Mr. Mahbul Haq, and his colleagues, and my colleagues here from different universities. I don't know all the names. You have to excuse me for that. But definitely we can work together. And lastly, Bangladesh offers SAARC scholarship for SAARC countries. Other countries did not. Only very recently, Sri Lanka has started to offer SAARC scholarship. So SAARC scholarship is one scholarship where anybody from SAARC countries can take advantage of. We have set up, all the countries of SAARC has set up a university in Delhi, okay? And Government of India has given a land of 104 acres, a little bit outside Delhi, in Gurgaon side. So the buildings are coming up. 7 buildings will be ready to be handed over by the end of March next. And that is where we have, right now we have limited number of students housed in one of the building of Ministry of External Affairs of the Government of India. So that is one big place where we could bring in students from all countries of this region. With these few words, again, I would like to thank all of you. And if you have questions, definitely I'll try to answer.
Well, most of the things have been spoken by Honorable Minister and Abdul Manan regarding the relationship and the foundation of these two countries. These two countries, we had civilizational linkage, and it goes much beyond the recent history. And obviously, it is the re-establishment of this civilizational linkage through this type of programs is very important. And what is more important today, we are a leading university in Northeast India, oldest university in Northeast India, Guwahati University. And we have 48 departments. We offer recent new courses. We have introduced new programs like cancer biology, radiological physics. These are some areas where 100% employment is assured, because our students coming out of the radiological field all are employed across the country. And we have new program like Southeast Asia program. We have East and Southeast Asia, diploma in East and Southeast Asia. And we are trying to really establish the track to diplomacy through higher educational linkage. In the meantime, we already had developed linkage with Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. And we have student exchange programs with Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Bhutan. And we have a cross-cultural exchange also. And we feel that Bangladesh is definitely our next destination. And we will be very happy to go and provide the platform for their students to come to our university. We have special package for SAARC countries as far as the fee structure is concerned. And the special package we are going to offer for the Bangladeshi students. And therefore, it is a large university with 48 departments, rise from science, humanities, social science, and management and technology. All these are available in law. And I'm sure that will fit in somewhere or the other as far as the Bangladeshi students are concerned.
Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, and ladies and gentlemen. National Law University, Assam is a very young university, kickstarting its activities in the year 2011. We are doing LLB, LLM and PhD programs, and our LLM specialization is in 5 branches: constitutional law, business and corporate law, environmental law, human rights, and intellectual property rights, wherein we can plan some collaborative activities. And we are working with the government of Assam as the Honorable Assistant High Commissioner was mentioning about inland waterways management activities. There is a bilateral agreement between the Government of India and Government of Bangladesh. We are providing legal support, our research team, to the Government of Assam in building a new package of law in the PPP model for building a robust inland water management system in Assam, especially Brahmaputra tributaries and all that. We have already prepared the bill. It probably will be passed in the coming assembly session. And we are also planning to build 2 corporations, one for the management of vessels and the other for the management of ports. So for all these things, it is a 130 million World Bank supported project, mega project of the government of Assam. So I think it can be scaled up with Bangladesh, partnering with Bangladesh, and then National Law University will be willing to assist the government of Bangladesh along with the government of Assam in building this collaborative activity to make a robust, not only economic activities, transit activity, but also cultural integrity, which is coming of late in the area. And in addition to that, we are also planning to build our space lab with ISRO, support of ISRO, space law research project at the initiative of Honorable Chief Minister of the government of Assam. That will also go a long way. And we have a very robust child rights center supported by UNICEF, because in northeastern area, it should be there in Bangladesh also. We need to build a good package of the securing legal regulation of the children suffering with loss of rights in moral trafficking. So many things are there. We have 5 to 6, the already robust research centers. In addition to this, we are planning a few more research centers. We have a package of 30 research centers. We are the only national law university out of 23 national law universities in the country in the northeastern states.
I'm just going back 120 years. There were only 2 government colleges in Northeast India. So the first was established, Murari Chand College, 1892. And then the second government college was, if I am not wrong, it was 1901, Cotton College. So at that time, so that way it continued. A time was there when during the Second World War, it was said that Cotton College, mostly it was, the teachers' classes were not held because of the Second World War and all. So many teachers were given the option that you can go to Murari Chand College. So that way there was a very good relations between that. And once I read somewhere that in the football there was an inter-college tournament. Each time Murari Chand College wins that for the last maybe 15, 20 years. But in 1 year, our player, Ao was at that time, Cotton College owned that. So therefore, I just want that now it has become an university and Murari Chand College, Sylhet, is still there. So we want some sort of that relationship, again, we want to grow that. And I hope that way we will have because I know that that's also a good institute, and Northeast India, Cotton University is also a good institute. So therefore, we will have some sort of program like that. and many things has already been said, and I hope the relationship between Bangladesh and India, especially Northeast, will grow in the coming few decades.
Let me also go back in time to the time when I was studying with my Bangladeshi. At that time it was not Bangladesh, but they were struggling. Freedom fight was on when I was with my friends from Bangladesh studying together in Moscow way back in 70s. And at that time, the way we felt the excitement of the help that was given by India for such a noble cause. Now, times have evolved, and in fact, I have come back to this region of the country after about 50 years, and I see that we need to progress. For progress, at this moment, I think technology is a must. Therefore, we do need to develop technologies. We need not bring something, we need not invent the wheel, but we need to adapt technologies for the region so that we can have regional development on the whole. And Bangladesh is, I would say, environmentally very similar to where we are sitting right now. Therefore, we can extend help to each other so that we can bring in these high technologies for our use in our region. I am from a university which is fairly new, and we have all the engineering colleges of Assam affiliated to this university. We have right now a technology enhancement program also with the help of from Government of India, which is trying to bring in a uniform standard of education in all our engineering colleges. We could actually extend a similar standard together with our colleagues and friends from Bangladesh.
Very distinguished eminent personality in the dais, of the dais, and my colleagues. I think when you say higher education, I do not know whether I exactly fit, my institution fits in that. We are a scientific research organization under Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. This institution has a very long history. It was established way back in 1979, but in 2009, Government of India took it over as a multidisciplinary autonomous research organization. And if you talk about Northeast India, there are only 3 full-fledged national institutes under Ministry of Science and Technology, and also one under CSIR, that's NIST CSI Laboratory, then Institute of Bioresources and Sustainable Development under Ministry of Science and Technology, but under Department of Biotechnology, and the one we have now in Baragao, Institute of Advanced Study in Science and Technology, under Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. Now, as far as this involvement of our institute in a bilateral collaborative mode for enhancing research for the region, Southeast region, I think we can offer certain things. See, like from climate perspective, from bioresource perspective, Bangladesh, Assam or Northeast do not have much difference. You suffer from the same floods. Assam, recurrent way, suffer from floods. Now, I heard somebody say that excellent disaster management in the Bangladesh. I think the first thing, if Assam has to learn from Bangladesh, is how to cope up with flood. We have been talking a lot about control of flood, But we are now, perhaps our whole philosophy of thought must change, that we have to talk about how to live with flood. Like you might heard about earlier, he was the director of India Tropical Institute of Tropical Monsoon Research, Dr. Bhavesh Chandra Goswami, Dr. Abhinath Goswami. He has been with us in this institute last 1 year. What he says that we need to develop a model for this region, a flood forecasting model.
Actually, about Sri Narendra Modi, it is told he is the man of action. About Narendra Modi is always told that he is the man of action. Directly work with the people who is in the project. Sometimes he surpasses the ministers also, and you know. So we should be the man of action. And from tomorrow, I will start meeting with you. All the SARs we have, all the honorable teachers here, vice chancellors here. I will come to you door to door, and I will check out the plan. I will check out the plan. And I just one thing I can assure you that Bangladesh people are very much fan of India regarding education. Google Sundar Pichai, Pepsi Cola, Indra Nui, IMF chief economist, Gopinath, a lady, all are the son or daughters from India. So good an education India has. India produces so many executives, entrepreneurs. We know, we Bangladeshi people know that. So everybody aspires to come to India. Just you offer, sir, I will send people. And also, we can also offer our specialization where we are good, like you have just mentioned, disaster management. We shall offer something for you also. So that's the thing from my side.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we have the co-host and the Chancellor of University of Science and Technology Meghalaya, an edupreneur, a dynamic organizer, and a person who has started so many educational institutions almost from scratch. So I'm sure everybody is wanting to hear his views. Chancellor Haq, sir, please.
Honorable Education Minister, for your information, that we started inviting all the Vice Chancellors just yesterday. And I am very grateful to all the Vice Chancellor of Northeastern Universities. They never say no to the appeal of USTM. They always say yes. This is the problem, actually. And Dr. Patil sir, who is sitting just in my right side, it was the first talking with the earlier Vice Chancellor I know, but I don't know you personally. But when I called and I introduced me from USTM, that he welcomed me very nicely, although it telephonically. So I want to say, sir, one thing, that we have discussed something. We must continue it. And today it is not possible, already it is late. Can I propose something in front of Honorable Education Minister and UGC Chairman of Bangladesh? If we can make 7 Vice Chancellors present here within 24 hours or 48 hours, if we take 1 hour, 1 month time, and if we organize certain kind of Vice Chancellors interaction somewhere in the Sylhet, near to Meghalaya and Assam also, from Karimganj, from my city, Karimganj city, it is only 1.5 hour journey. And if we take one month time and we make a kind of a plan, and if Assistant High Commissioner is facilitating and UGC Chairman is doing the work from the center, and we from USTM and also Education Minister is present here, if we make it 20 Vice Chancellors from Northeastern India, and at least 50 Vice Chancellors from universities of Bangladesh, because it will be hosting in the Sylhet. So you must be double. So if such kind of interaction is there and some kind of strategic issues and discussion, I think it will be fruitful and it will carry forward our agenda, what we have discussed today. This is my only proposal to all of you. And I want to listen your comments, UGC Chairman comments, and also Assam Education Minister comments, and Assistant High Commissioner comments on my proposal, so that everyone will be knowing the future course of action and we can plan. And all the Vice Chancellors present here, I think, sir, if we organize in Sylhet, will you go or not? Sir? Yes, yes. Yeah? Sir? Vice Chancellor will go, everyone will go. And it may be if we start a journey at 4:30 in the morning, We can attend a conference there in Sylhet. We can reach again at 10 p.m. in Guwahati. There will be no problem. It is 4 or 5 hours journey. Okay, sir? Please. Assistant High Commissioner, I think you must give the comments on that.
Sir, I'm giving the mic.
I was waiting to listen something like that for the last 2 hours. At least I can ensure the accommodation. Select Circuit House, Jila Parishad buildings. I can ensure the accommodation, good transportation. And about the presence of the vice chancellors of Bangladesh, surely it is the Manan sir's responsibility or.
I can ensure 25, you ensure 25.
That is, our Honorable UGC Chairman is there. I cannot comment on that, so I think.
Okay, thank you. I think that is a very, very workable, doable proposition. The Assistant High Commissioner, if he is facilitating, UGC definitely can be another facilitator in Bangladesh. And Sylhet is not very far away. I said, you can go in the morning, come back in the evening, but I would not stress or push up to that. Don't go in the morning and come back in the evening. Stay there a day or two, spend some time. And Sylhet is a lovely place. Sylhet is a lovely place. And it has so many ties with Assam, Meghalaya, Karimganj, all these places. I know many of the people in Sylhet whose in-laws or whose parents, maternal uncles lives in this side of the border. And I know many people from this side of the border whose the other half of the family lives on the other side of the border. So definitely this is something that we can do it. The Assistant High Commissioner has to just write to us saying that he's planning to do this. And Sylhet Shahjalal University of Science and Technology has been recognized as #1 research university in the country. #1 research university in the country. It has an excellent campus. And he talked about the circuit house. Sylhet Circuit House is as good as a 3-star hotel. Okay? So the logistics are there. You need to just have the effort. And I cannot say how many vice chancellors I can bring in. Sometimes there were instances where I could bring in more than 90 vice chancellors in Dhaka. Because when UGC asked vice chancellor to do a certain thing, they take it very seriously. Sometimes they take it more seriously than the Minister of Education. So because we know the universities knows us, we work very closely. So definitely we will do our best to get together as many vice chancellors as possible. Sylhet itself has 4 or 5 vice chancellors. Okay? Sylhet itself has 4 or 5 vice chancellors. Sylhet has an excellent mode of transport with the rest of the country. So it will not be a big problem. This is a good proposition. We can definitely try and do that, and UGC can always be a good facilitator along with our Assistant High Commissioner in Guwahati. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And we would like our Education Minister also to give his comments.
Well, if you are a politician, you are always there to build a cat. I could hear Dr. Mannan, a diplomatic answer. I could hear Abdul Saab, and his was one, what is expected of a chairman of a UGC. But ultimately, it's the politician who have to build a cat. Well, the proposition, on serious note, the proposition that has been made is very good. There shouldn't be any logistical problem, neither there should be any other issues also involved. So why not? Let proposal come. We will definitely see that it reaches its final conclusion, and definitely it's a proposition which is worth taking. So I welcome the suggestion that has been made, and hopefully we'll be able to realize it. Thank you.
Just a matter of information, the current education minister of Bangladesh, he is from Sylhet. He is from Sylhet. But as our election is around the corner, I would not say do it in one month. After the election, definitely it will be much more easier to do that. Thank you.